My VIP cohort ready to lend an ear. I want to go over something that's pretty cool, and it deals a lot with how we shift our mindset in regards of what we need to be reading. And the point that I want to make here is we need to make more book lists for when we go after something. When we look at how we do things, we send a resume. Why? Well, because we want to showcase our abilities and all these things, skills and all that. In my head, it's just a bunch of jargon. And the reason I would say that is, what the heck do you have to offer? If I just say I have leadership, but I don't showcase what type of things I've read that correlate to leadership, then I'm just projecting this whole big lie. And that doesn't make sense. So I judge more heavily on like what type of books do you recommend than what type of resume you got. Because resume, you can write a whole ton of stuff onto it. But with the books and like some Socratic method of like debating, I like, hey, how did you like that idea in the book? I don't recall that part, but I do recall this, and I was more focused on that. It was a tough read and so forth. Those types of questions and like the honest response answers coming from it are going to give you a far better likelihood of getting something that you want than having a piece of paper saying, oh, I got this degree, I've done this and that. I've sat with people where I want to know, like, how do they really think? They've gone through and got a degree, and I'm like, hey, how would you build something like this? And it's like sometimes blank answers. Sometimes it's really great ones, but I'm just sitting here in my head. I'm like, where's the ambition? Where's the drive? What is something that really makes them go? But when I hear a reader, it gets me turned on because they want to be outgoing. They are not okay with like the status quo. They want something that gives them direction, no matter where it is on the spectrum. All too often, we just stay on our lane that derails us from the whole mission that we must be lifelong learners. Why be a lifelong learner rather than, let's say, a cheat code? And I'm using the cheat code because sometimes we want to bypass the experiences that are required. And the greatest reference I can make is language. I could go read the whole entire dictionary, and that'd be a cool feat, but might not know the language that well. The experience-wise is me finding a platform where I can debate it, use things of that language, maybe sitting down quietly on a bench and just processing how do they communicate, what type of idioms, what type of articulation and tonality they're using, and then just allowing my voice to go and do it its own way. And this is where you got to stop people pleasing and just start getting the things that actually matter. So, this baby is online. I'm getting the link set up for the paperback, but that one's been processing right now. I got that submitted yesterday. But one of my chapters, I put in my own book list. And this is where the big highlight of what this video is going to entail is you need a book list. A book list. Because that is the key to allowing people to understand what you're doing. Especially with like Notebook LM that we have today. You can look up this book that they listed, go into it, and understand like how do they do their process of thinking. That's a flippin' greater method of figuring out who they are. This is how you probably will get to an S tier ranking in like the regards of how you apply yourself. Why would I say S tier over the A tier? That's probably what would go through your mind. And that's justifiable. The reason I would say S tier over A tier is that if somebody has readings, they're trying to go above what they already know, especially in their own time. If they're trying to expand their whole understanding of maybe like sales, marketing, health, self-improvement, psychology, what else? Evolutionary psychology, cognitive behavioral therapy, list goes on and on and on. Philosophy, seduction. use it with caution, but you get where I'm coming at. If they understand these types of things, it showcases that they are wanting to understand from others and what type of experiences they have. And on page 169 of my book, I put a whole chapter just dedicated to my book list. And there's even more on the Vipelex website blog, where there's just books curated for like the type of content I make. But this one was just me writing all these out that had a big impact on my life. And the two that I gave a synopsis on are those that are really hard to find. One was Conflict Resolution by the Life Leadership series, and the second one was Innovator. And I did 2 YouTube videos prior to that explained like their thinking, because I believe innovation is very crucial in a time at this that we have right now. If you have an innovation that you go out and you use a step-by-step process that gets you through the innovation cycle, you can go to a venture capitalist or angel investor after you get like patents, copyrights, and trademarks, and then have investments. And they can handle parts that you're not good at too. You can have an understanding of marketing, but not be that great at it. But if you can talk the repertoire with them and say, hey, my weakness is marketing. I don't have a strong enough Google ad budget, and I don't want to blow that out because I don't know it, and it's probably too early of a stage. I've tried social media, but it's not taking the likingness of getting out there. So I might need to find affiliates that can get the word out better. And maybe you have better content creators that can get the word out. Something of that nature. Falling back, build out your book list. It's one of the things that can define you in the regards of your categories that you study in. And it gives the person that wants to hire you an idea of what to do. If we have the book list, what type of actions can you take with it? So you write it all out. You got like your 50 books or even 5. I normally look for 5 books with somebody that like really impact them. Because you can put 50 random ones down, but if you got 5 main ones, that showcases that you're narrowing the scope to understand like what has really impacted them. And mine would be Art Williams, The Coach. That one nearly made me cry because of how he developed full on and through to being in business, making the tough calls, trying to keep to a mantra where he wasn't a salesperson. He just wanted to create a product that was already existing, but needed the right channel of distribution. That was near and dear, but near the end of the book, I nearly started bawling because when he left out of the company, he was just sad of how the direction went from what made it great in the first place. And that's the shift that happens when a founder leaves to like a corporate entity, now taking it to a board. It starts losing that same magic that it did in the beginning a lot of the times. The second one, Launching a Leadership Revolution by Orrin Woodward and Chris Brady. That one was super duper important because I had this big dilemma when doing anything in my sales career in the beginning. Nothing was connecting, and people-wise, it just kept like destroying itself. And my mind kept going to something. I need leadership. I need leadership. Something. I need something that will work. And it went to leadership. I learned that. And that book was golden. Their products, questionable, but that book was definitely pivotal in understanding of how to look at the stages of leadership and so forth. What would be my third best book? Or, well, yeah, that would be my third. Besides those 2 that I listed by the Life Leadership. They're owned by Orrin and Chris Brady and a few other people inside that company. But they're very indie books. They're hard to get your hands on. The third one, going back to like my 5, it would be The New Sales Model by Jeremy Meyer and Jeffrey Akoff. That book is hands out of the water the best sales book. Only one that comes close to it is Tom Hopkins' The Art of the Sale. And even then, his wording and font, it can come off the wrong direction with the new sales model. Flipping golden. especially if you pair it with his NAPQ with Jeremy Miners. Those two books go hand in hand with the new sales model book, because one's like a handbook that goes explicitly to like calling scripts that are very well put together in the regards that they're not like gimmicky. They're really like pushing the question back onto them and understanding their needs. And it's NAPQ is amazing. And the new sales model pretty much has that same format, but shifting. Like, one great way that the book taught me was, instead of closing, going for a commitment. And I like that so much more. When people think of closing, what do you think? Closing the door in your face. You won't ever get your contacts back. There's no exit. That kind of scares the crap out of people when you start thinking of close. But with a commitment and with clear ways of how you can enter, exit, and so forth, you feel confident enough to invest in that product. You see, those types of shift in language can really allow somebody comfort, but also comfort and confidence in a calm space. That's the answer I would give to that. My fourth book would be Mastering Your Emotions. I will butcher the guy's name. I'm not going to say his name because I will butcher it badly. But it starts with a T, but just look that up. That was the one book that shifted everything. Because when I read it, it said, "You are not your emotions." That was the one line that got me. It's like water. And when you're understand that, it's a flow. So you can't just say you're angry 100% of the time. That would be ridiculous. But you can be angry a lot of the times, but you can also be calm at a lot of the times too. It's a shift. Because if you're angry all the time, you wouldn't sleep. And no sleep means you're gone. So it does make sense on that regard. And what would be the fifth book? Something that changed me heavily. Ethan Hawke, The Rules of a Knight. That book really grounded me heavily. Because I wanted to understand, like, what type of traits make somebody better? And I was with this huge question of what the heck is faith? Because people will spout that word about, but never know what the true meaning of it is. You can go to a dictionary and get it, but faith has this way. It has the definition, but it also has like their internal structured meaning to it. And in that book, it came to a chapter explicitly talking about faith, and the greatest line came in there. He's like, don't question your birth. You came into this world in a magical, majestic way. And in that regard, you must have reverence for that, no matter what path you take. And I was just like, that's actually one of the best lines of doing it. It's magical and majestic because the universe is expanding and all these other things. And with that, you should come to a sense of gratitude with how you came into being. That's just one way. Those are my 5 that I would go at. And there's many more that I've read prior to it, and they've all had powerful effects on me. If I had to add 2 bonus ones, in my book I have Machiavellianism and Stoicism are important to have hand in hand. Attack and defense. So my Stoic book would probably be Marcus Aurelius' Meditations, and that's pretty highly noted. It's pretty much like a go-to, and it would be secondary to, drumroll, The Prince by Niccolò Machiavelli. That's my second one. It's important to read both and really understand that one is to defend your soul and then one is to go on the attack. And both must be counterbalancing each other. You can't just be one and not the other. Each situation dictates that you must change. And that would be like Miyamoto Musashi, The Book of 5 Rings. Highly recommend as well. So instead of me talking about all these books now, I've given you my 5 mains. And there's many others that you can do for like marketing. You got Dan S. Kennedy, Sales Letter. You got Seth Godin, Permission Marketing. And then This Is Marketing. You can hit all these great legends. And you will find really bad books The ones that I hate the most, there was this one book called The World's Greatest Networker, a green book. I said, okay, let me give this a shot. After chapter 2, I said, screw this. It was horrible. The advice we given was just like agony. Like the words were just not working. Like the advice in there was like, go into this room and then just say hi. And I'm like, that's all I got from that book. And I'm like, yep, nope, we're done with that. And then the other one was like the 5 personalities types. Think of it like Tom. What was the guy's name? Surrounded by Idiots. That's the book I was thinking on. I'm not going to butcher the guy's name because I think it was Thomas Erickson. One sec. I was right. Yeah, Thomas Erickson. Yeah, I didn't want to butcher his name. He did Surrounded by Idiots. Highly recommend that one because it goes into like the same type of format of like identifying the 4 personality traits. There was like clergy, sanguine, phlegmatic. What was the 4th? You got clergy, phlegmatic. Crap. It even baffled me. But he did it in like the 4 ways. You got red, blue, green, yellow. And those type of personalities have different traits about themselves. The other one was like the 4 personality types did the same thing, but it was just worded very badly. I wanted to throw that book too. And forgot the name of it, and I'm glad I did. I just did not like that book. So yeah, you will come across books that you do not like and books you do like. And it's a-okay. If you do not like a book, stop reading. Don't waste your time on it. Don't force yourself through it. The hardest read I did, and I didn't even complete it, it was Will and Ariel Durant's The Story of Civilization. I got through to the Renaissance, and then the words got jumbled. I was pushing myself very hard. I was knocking out the book after book within a month. Yeah, I was just going book, and it was long. It was kicking me at really hard. And then I came to a point where I couldn't read after that. That was the issue. I went so hard into it. I was like, book 5, I totally collapsed. I was like, no. It's a great read, but you gotta commit to that being like your 100 books for the year. Like Will and Ariel Durant is no joke. So yeah, take it with a grain of salt and be careful with that one. So from all that I've been explaining right now, you may be thinking like, whoa, this is just a lot of books and redundancy. What do I get from this? Here's the checklist. Write out your book list. On your resume, forget your skills, put books in there instead. I know it sounds crazy, but do that. You gotta do a pattern interrupt. You can't let these people just think you're the same person. That's why I switched my skills to putting books into my resume. Because I got tired of it. Resumes aren't going to get you anywhere. They might get you an audience, but if you can't deliver to the audience, screw that. You got to be able to give the deliverable. That's what you'll get gauged on. That's what makes money. Not you looking aesthetically pleasing. Art is beautiful. I understand. Excuse me. But art without delivery is no art. So you got to have deliverables satisfied. And the only way that you know that your deliverables are satisfied is taking the right books that have the right action plan into it. And that's where you got the checklist. When you're in an interview, and this is just another part of the checklist, give the information they need. Don't over-explain, nor under. Why would I say don't over-explain? Because if you over-explain, you might be giving them way too many details to say no. I think of like a hire as a sales person. And the salesperson has to choose the best product for the task. If there's hidden stuff that you don't know about it, you can be okay. There's going to be some downsides, but you want to try to choose the best product for the task that's given because you don't want to be out of luck. That's the same process with a hire. In sales, you only want to answer the things that they truly need or they want to go after. If there is the ability that they will use something against you, give it out. Say, hey, brace yourself. I have this thing. I know where your questionnaire is kind of leading towards. And I just want to be frank with you. This is one thing that I had in my past with my prior employer. This is what the situation played out. I'm giving this to you because I know where you want to go with this and understand that the job title has this. And these are the reasons that this happened. I know you have to make that decision, but to honor both our times, I just want you to be frank with me. Is this going to be a cutoff from the employment so we can walk out of here with fair enough and I don't have to waste my time? Or are we still committed because you see the abilities in me? That's going to give them like, whoa, he knows his conviction. And that's where you have to know your worth. You can't walk into an employment scenario and just be like whimsical. You can ramble on very little. You have to be dead set on what you need. You need to prepare in the background. You got to rehearse constantly. So you walk in and know what they might ask you. And you got to confront the demons of your past too. And don't make this demons of the past like a flippin' Dante's Inferno type type of scenario. There you go. You don't need that. That's way over dramatic. You're making it a theater rather than a system. That's what I would say. A system where you just go 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you're turning 1 into 8 to 7 to this when you make it a theater. And it's beautiful, but that's not the point of what we're doing here. You can add a little elements of theater in there, but I'm trying to keep it to where you want to go at. So yeah, confront those demons, make it palatable, and say these are what occurred. These are the lessons I learned from this. So now I can apply this here. Let's say this. I failed in my first business and I treated employees wrongfully. I had a little bit of a belligerent spell where I would yell and sometimes not get that way forward. The solution that I came to after sitting down with myself and saying, this is not the behavior of a leader, is firstly, I need to step away when those types of emotions happen. Need to go sit down, write it down. If the mission is critical at that time, I'll only take like 5 to 10 minutes, write it down quick, come to a quick strategic attack point and get back in. But if it can wait another day, I'll do that. I'll go back home or finish it out the day, just stay to myself and then really reflect on myself, like what was these triggers, what type of things need to improve on my side and what needs to improve here, and who's more at fault. And the most answer is it's yourself, but you know what I mean? You're doing the reasoning in your own head. That's the most important part. And then you come back and you make that decision. Now, if you just say, I failed at business, but I got over it and then I became better. And you don't provide no way of how you did it, it's just going to go sideways. One moment. So yeah, do that. And gauge how the hiree is. Because if you can see in both lenses, the person that's being hired and the one who's trying to hire, you have more control as to how the thing's going to go. You planned out for how these types of questions will ask, and then the delivery of those things will be all the difference. But there's no guarantees. That's one thing I live by. You can do everything right and still not get it. But understand that you did all the things that were possible. And just do the reps. You'll get no's. Don't do 100 no's and then flip it entirely because you just kept the same thing. Do 3 no's. See where you modify. Modify again. Do the 3 no's, modify again, 3 no's. You see, you're always in that improvement process. You don't want to wait 100 and then do an improve because you were doing insanity, where you just keep doing the same thing and not seeing the results. You want to see like one minute little changes. Don't overhaul the whole system. And then you'll start seeing where the thing starts operating better, rather than just replacing the whole thing. So yeah, that's how you will go. So you need your book list to get a job. You got to be different. And you can be cheap in the regards if that's like the mission motto of like saving value for people. But different does best. You do not want to be lumped into the same crowd. And if it has to be done cheaply, save value, keep quality and quantity very high, if that's possible. And then just, you're doing volumetric on that scale if you're doing that regard. But being different does not take as much volume. It just takes shifting from the norm. And that's what people like. And there's going to be many variables, requirements, and so forth that will prevent people from going. Just make the calls that you got to. And it's good to have many skills under your belt before you take on something very deliberate and decisive. So it's good to say that you've done like 5 to 6 jobs prior, because now you have experience in many fields that you understand things. And if you tell them that you want to be more deliberate on this one thing, you came from your spell of testing many waters, plus you're reading books. So if you get really curious about something, you can pick up a book and understand that. And then on your free days, go test that out. But on the main thing, you are now set more structured to do the thing. And that's all that matters. Because value is created in reading. If the United States really valued getting more people that are competent innovators and so forth, they would mandate better reading. Better reading in the regards of not just a textbook or sitting around. You would really have people picking up philosophy. You would have people going out, heck, even camping or something. Take a book with them, go do camping, discuss what things are like that. If you had more of that in the U.S. and just in the world in general, you would have a stronger society. And the reason's quite simple. You're talking on deeper subjects that have more meaning that can change the lives of many. We're coming to so many new technologies right now that it will remove a lot of the redundant tasks of people. So only the higher grade tasks are left for people to take over. And if your mind ain't operating at the higher level task, you're going to be left behind. That's the only thing. It's not about missing a deal. There's always opportunity out there. It's just your lens have to see it and then get over your ego and envy and move somebody to that. If you have the ability to see opportunities, but you don't have the resources at that time, but somebody else does, maneuver the person that does into the resources that are. That's the greatest thing you can do. Network them. And then by doing that, you do so many of those, they'll just already come back to you. And then you start making. There's so many means of getting to the point that you want to be. That's why a plan is bullshit. But a plan is necessary to chart the way. And the way can be ups and downs, but you're going there anyways. So I'm going to sign off here, guys. Remember, get your book list. Use that for your resume. And create projects that are lasting. So people can look at your stuff and be like, man, I want to partner with him. Deuces.